we had a Facebook sales guy come into our office.
That's the Facebook question.
And we were asking some questions, and we were asking about like data collection with liking ads and all of that stuff. And he's like, well, actually, that's just being set up because pretty soon you're going to be able to earn Facebook credits just by interacting with the site. So just for a little bit of context about those GIFs, Facebook by, Silicon Valley Insider's estimation was approximately $50 million last year on those GIFs alone. And there's a reason that they changed Facebook credits to an international standard because they're selling a lot of them and they're, whatever. So it's very profitable for them. So my question really is like, how do you think that's going to affect the way people interact with Facebook? One scenario that I was thinking of is maybe they're going to start charging people, requiring credits for certain access to the site. So you either have to like buy your way to new functionality or earn your way to new functionality. But that's just me. All right. Everybody.
Well, I know that Facebook has always been very adamant about they're not going to charge for the site. I think that also for the amount that they talk about expanding to the rest of the world and the amount that they talk about mobile these days, and mobile for any social network, if they're talking about it that extensively, they mean that they want to make a foothold in areas where people don't have personal computers.
So like Asia?
And also in developing countries and that sort of thing. And I think because they want to be so global, they really can't. I really don't think they can, I guess afford isn't the right word, but I don't think they want to be charging for premium access, but it's definitely interesting that the credit system is something, or the payment platform, as they sometimes refer to it, as something they've talked up for a long time now, and just, is it in development, is it not in development, was it scrapped because there are too many third-party payment platforms already? I think that it's something very interesting because, first of all, it's an additional revenue stream for them. If you are actually making transactions with third-party developers, then Facebook can take a cut of that. But if they're going to make it possible for you to earn credits simply through engagement, I think that's very interesting both from a positive and negative standpoint.
Go ahead.
That on the positive, you've got reason for people to interact with the site who might not be spending lots of money on the platform, so that sort of like fuels a little bit into it. On the negative side, every time Facebook hits a new million user mark, when they hit 200 million, 250 million, back when they were at 100 million, etc., they like to talk about how they rank in comparison to country populations. And I think that if they really want to consider themselves almost a sovereignty, then they can't sort of juice the system and just force more currency into it that way, so that just by spending a lot of time on the site would get you status, but also putting physical currency into it would get you status, because I think there would certainly be some friction between the two, and I think it's something they definitely have to consider.
Do you think it has anything to do with the fact that all the kids who grew up on Webkinz and Club Penguin are now becoming 13, 14 years old and are now legally allowed to join Facebook?
That I think definitely would have something to do with it, but Facebook's fastest growing demographics right now, I believe, are significantly older.
Well, it wasn't the premise. Okay, so Facebook is an effort to share media with your family and friends, right? So, like Webkinz or Club Penguin, those are sort of insular communities dedicated to no real world.
Exactly.
So I think it's totally fine if those guys can go ahead and pursue that stuff and make $35 million a year, but I think Facebook would be missing a huge opportunity. At the same time, I think it would be away from the core values. At the same time, I think my favorite part, one of the more interesting things about Facebook is that the increased participation is more about sharing the media with people you care about, so that they can then share media back with you to value interaction with the site as much as you value interaction with people would be just going the wrong way.
I think that they've seen that other people can come along and monetize those microtransactions, like $1 a pop for these little icons. And it's like, okay, well, people, like you're saying, no one raised their hands here, but we're not into, doing those, buying these $1 gifts for people. What are the other things that we might spend $1 for? It's clear that people spend money on something, but maybe it's not those gifts, maybe the other things. And, this is kind of a little bit off topic, but you think like, well, what are people going to spend the points on? Like the low-hanging fruit seems like, well, maybe you spend, 30 Facebook credits to go and look at someone's photos that you're not supposed to see. Like that's really, really dangerous. And I hope they don't ever go down that road because it's breaking some kind of like, trust level that we have with Facebook and whatnot. Kind of like Friendster did way back in the day.
We'll take questions at the end of the session, I promise. That's why there's a microphone stand in the middle. I swear we'll get to you, I promise. Okay, well, moving on from Facebook. Actually, one of the things that I was sort of thinking in terms of the whole Facebook thing is that could be another way for them to get into like brand sponsorship, for example. Like you can recruit people with a certain number of credits because they're heavy users, et cetera, et cetera. So that lovely little segue brings us to the whole brand and company question. Can you guys think of any, are there any brands and companies that are doing this well? And if not, what do you think they're doing wrong and how do you think they could do it better?